Okay. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to a new Noise Brigade presents, featuring me, Rich, and Danielle. Uh, we decided to get together and talk about some musicals. What we like, what we want to see, what we haven't seen. Um, just a general Noise Brigade noisy chatty thing.
Yeah, we're the
So
cultured ones.
yes, it can't all be football and wrestling.
I mean, I like football and wrestling, but I also like Broadway shows. So
Yes. Now, before we start, I've never seen a show on Broadway. But I've seen, like I was talking to Danielle before we started, a lot of the movies of the musicals, and maybe local things. Like I've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show piles of times with and without live performances and stuff. So yeah,
and I have seen several shows on Broadway, along with off Broadway and tours in Chicago and Philadelphia, and I grew up in the theater. So, but then I've also watched like the movies, and it's always fun to compare the movies to the live show. So do you want to go off of this list that we found, or?
sure. Yeah, Danielle found a list of the top 50 best Broadway musicals. We're reviewing it a little bit before we started, just kind of get an idea of what we were going to talk about. And I think we're just going to use it as a kicking off point. So we'll kind of start with the list and see whether or not we agree, whether or not we've seen it, so on and so forth.
Mhm. Yeah. So I don't think it's in any like particular order. I don't think that it's like counting down or up or whatever. But the first one they mention is Hamilton, and I have watched the recording of the original cast on Disney Plus, and it's one of those shows that I could sit and watch back to back to back to back. And I mean, my kids hate it. They won't sit down and watch it with me. And I think that Tom basically just um, watches it for me, not necessarily because he enjoys it, but like I love it.
Yeah,
But I have no want to see it live because I think that the original cast did such a fantastic job of it that I think that like seeing it live and seeing other people in those roles would just ruin it for me.
gotcha.
So,
Yeah, I was actually telling you before we started. It's not possible not to know what Hamilton is. It's not possible not to know who Lin Manuel Miranda is at this point. But I've only ever seen like clips of it. I've never sat through and watched the whole thing or listened to any of the music from it. Um, Lin Manuel Miranda has become like a well, obviously he's super famous now, but um, he did voice work on the new DuckTales show and a couple other things. So I've seen him like act and sing and things, but not in Hamilton. So it's definitely on my list of things to watch, especially since I think it's on Apple TV or something free. So I have access to it. I just haven't got around to actually watching it yet.
it's on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as I said, I've watched it like a bazillion times and I've, listened to it in the car when I'm driving somewhere. Like, I love it. But yet
Yeah.
again, don't want to see it live.
Yeah, I like the
No.
concept of it. I like the hip hop rap, whatever you'd call the music that they're doing inside of it. So from what I've heard is good.
But then
And
they
I like
also
the
bring in
idea.
the history part, which
Yeah, the
is like
historic.
I'm a history buff too. So like that I enjoy, like the historical part of it. And like I learned so much about like our country's history from like the different things that he dropped in the music. And I would like go and like Google it and be like, oh my goodness, that really did happen. That's really cool. I didn't know that. So I think that you just have to be like as you said, I think that you have to like rap and you have to have like some enjoyment of history. You know, that's an interesting like mesh. Okay, so the next one is The Producers, and I've never seen this live, but I saw the movie several years ago. It's not one of my favorites, which
So,
is
you know,
like
I've
weird because like I think it holds the record for the most Tony Awards on Broadway, and I just could not like. There's parts of it that were really funny, but
gotcha. I've only seen the musical movie once, but the original movie with Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder is fantastic. It's just I think it's insanely funny. And Nazis, if you as we're going to come up later into the list because they actually appear in a lot of musicals. If you put Nazis in a musical, it's going to be a funny. They're usually going to be funny or entertaining at least.
oh yeah, 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 definitely. Like the springtime for Hitler and Germany. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like that's what I was talking about. Like there's funny parts of it, and like I remember laughing hysterically. But like, have I watched it since? No.
Yeah.
You know,
And I'm not a big fan of Matthew Broderick, and I think that's who played the Gene Wilder character, right, in the Broadway
he was
version.
he was in The Producers. Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
which part he was. He played, but he was.
He was Ferris Bueller. Then after he did that, I wasn't. I was done with Matthew Broderick.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. Okay, so the next on the list is one of my personal favorites, Phantom of the Opera. And I have seen this live. I saw this in Philly when I was maybe 12 or 13 years old. And like, I just got obsessed with it. And I've listened to the whole thing. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times. Like this for the longest time was my number one favorite musical. Um, I mean, I love it. And but I mean, like I've gone back and I've watched one of the recordings of it, and I realize now that it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of like not aged well in like today's society where like I used to like really like get into like Phantom side. And
Mhm.
now like if you go, I'd always be like, well, yeah, why didn't Christine pick the Phantom? And nowadays it's kind of like because he was kind of a creep, you know. It kind of like takes the romance out of it when as like today's atmosphere. But like
Yeah.
I still love it. I mean, I still love it.
Yeah. No, I mean that's it's been out. I mean, what did it say? This came out in 1988, so it's been out almost for as long as I've been alive. And I know it's a lot of people's favorite musical, and I think it's one of the longest running ones too. It's
It is the longest running.
yeah, and I don't think I've ever sat through the Andrew Lloyd, but I can understand what you're saying, where it's more of a lot of people. This may be their first Broadway play that they saw, or something that they saw when you were kind of coming of age, kind of a thing. So you saw it at that right time where it left an impact. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. I don't when you say things don't age well, I don't zeitgeist. I think they call it. You have to look at it in the age where it's from, as opposed to now. Like I don't know if you can judge things by today's standards.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think that like I think it's just a growth of like of me, like
Mhm.
it was
Oh,
like
I got you.
like how romantic that was like when you're like 15, 16 years old, and now it's like okay, it's a creepy guy watching you from afar that like owns you. Like that's not as romantic as it was. But I mean, as I said, like there is still something so magical about the show, and I mean, it is the longest running Broadway show. They just announced that it was closing on Broadway, and they extended it, so it's still currently still on Broadway, but its time is coming to an end. So
Mhm.
you know,
As long as Shrek the Musical doesn't become the longest running one, we'll be okay.
No, I don't even think that Shrek's currently on Broadway right now.
The first time I went to New York, that was running, and there was people out in the street dressed in the Shrek costumes that would come get a picture with you, and then try to get you to pay them an exorbitant price.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is Book of Mormon, and you mentioned that you've seen or listened to this. I have not.
Yeah,
Like, other than like
I've
maybe
watched.
a song here or there, I have not seen it. I kind of guess what it's about, but
It's yeah, it's probably. I mean, if you've watched South Park and you've heard some of their other songs, you can definitely whatever you put together in your head is probably what it's going to be when you watch it. And it's still, I mean, it's funny, it's great, it's definitely I don't want to call it a parody, but a take on the Mormon faith. It's and it's Matt and Trey, so the music's entertaining.
I
It's
didn't even
better
realize
than it
it was
should be.
by the same people.
Oh yeah,
I just realized that now. So that's pretty cool. I might have to listen to the soundtrack on that because I don't know why. Like
it. I
I've
like they did. I don't think it's going to be on the list, but they did Cannibal the Musical too, and that was good. Cannibal the Musical is better, but the Book of Mormon was good. Okay,
I mean
I liked Cannibal the Musical better. We'll put it that way.
I followed people that were in Book of Mormon, but like for some reason it's just like going under my radar. Like I get obsessed about shows and then I like listen to it until I'm sick of it and then like I move on to the next show. And for some reason Book of Mormon just hasn't. I mean there's a couple of them that are like hugely popular that like I've just never listened to. Which totally reminded me of one that's not on here. Okay. Uh, Next up is Les Mis. And I've seen this on Broadway actually twice. I went with my high school choir, and then back when me and Tom were like first dating, he surprised me with tickets to go see it, and I was like, I just saw this like last year, so I got to see Les Mis on Broadway twice, but this is like this for the longest time was like right behind Phantom, like my second favorite musical. And like I still have a soft spot for this musical. I love it. I didn't care for the movie. And that was mostly to do with the guy that played Javert. Who was that? Russell Crowe?
I never was in it. I never actually. This is
Yeah,
another
he
one
was
that
horrible. Like
I've never
when we
seen.
went to go see it in the movie, like I mean, I hate spoiler alert, but Javert like kills himself. He jumps and
Like delete
like
it from my watch list.
our movie theater, like everybody in the movie theater clapped
Cheers.
because like he was just he was not good. He was not
Well,
good.
they
Like everybody else did a pretty good job,
yeah.
but he was not good. He was
This
not good.
just turned 10 years old last year, so they were talking about it on another podcast I listened to, and what they mentioned is they brought actors in. And I think they taught the actors how to sing. So Russell Crowe is not somebody you would normally think of a singer, but they
Mm-mm.
had him actually do the singing parts. So
Yeah,
I can understand where maybe some people weren't as good as others. I like that. Like I know the story of Les Mis, and I kind of like the idea of the story. Just it's another one that I haven't really gone out of my way to watch yet or listen
it's
to.
a good show. Yet again, if you like history,
Yeah,
like it's a really good show. I love it. Like I would still go and watch it. Like if they put out another movie tomorrow, I would probably go watch it because I mean I really do. It's in my top 5. It's in my top 5 shows.
and it was written by the story. Original story is written by Victor Hugo, who I want to say was the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That he was, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I tried reading the book, and I just could not get into it. I just
Gotcha.
could not get into it.
So the next one, I'm gonna move on because
Mhm.
the next one's one that I actually have seen, and I liked. It was West Side Story is the next one on the list. The wonderful retelling of Romeo and Juliet with Puerto Ricans and Italians. So,
Mhm.
yep. Let's
Yes,
move then to the modern era of New York. Modern, I guess it was modern for the time. But yeah, it was Natalie Wood. You're right. It was
it was Natalie Wood.
fantastic. But the other woman, West
Oh,
Side Story.
she was just in it. She was in the
Yeah,
remake.
yeah, and they people really don't like her. Apparently, she was rough to work with. I don't
And
know.
I
I
can't
can't think.
remember.
Carmen
I'm
something.
thinking Rita.
Yeah,
Is it Rita?
and Rita was the character. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yes, um, fantastic, very good, good music. You get that "When You're a Jet" song stuck in your head for like days afterwards when you hear it.
Mhm. My favorite is Officer. What is it? Officer Krupke.
Yes.
Yes, that's my favorite song, and I could sit there and listen to that song on repeat. Like not the original, but like the one from the 80s.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is about it, but like that's it for me right
Yeah,
there.
I haven't seen the remake. I don't know if I'm going to see the remake. I think I'm fine with the original one.
The remake was pretty good. I mean,
Okay.
it was pretty good. I thought it was a lot hyped up. There was a bit of controversy around it, which, when you're dealing with a Broadway show being remade into a movie, I don't know if you necessarily need, you know, any more like bad attention to it. You
Rita
know,
Moreno was the actress, by the way. I
who was
found
it?
that. Rita Moreno.
Rita. I told you it was
Yeah,
Rita.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't remember her last name, but I thought it was Rita. But I was obsessed with this show, like the movie, the Natalie Wood movie,
Mhm.
um, like when I was a kid. Like,
I was gonna say it's one of the ones that's good for kids. I think like kids will like it or be into at least. I guess our age. I guess we're not kids anymore. I don't know if I showed it to my nephew if he'd be into it or not. But I think it's entertaining for kids. I don't know.
oh yeah, yeah. And it has a good like moral of the story, you
Mm,
know. Um, I mean, I guess as much as you can when you're talking about gangs
yeah.
and death.
It's gangs in the '50s though, so it's okay. It's I don't think it was on the list, but another gang one that I think I like a little better was Guys and Dolls. I think that's a
Oh my goodness, I didn't even write that down on my
uh,
ones that are missing. I love
yeah.
Guys and Dolls.
Dean Martin and not Dean Martin, sorry, Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando. It's just
Okay, so I gotta tell you a funny
and
story.
and the way they talk in that stilted. Apparently, that was based. The guy wrote it to be that way, but they don't use contractions and it's very stilted. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I saw that when I was a kid. I went to go see it was a community theater and they did Guys and Dolls. And the guy that played Sky Masterson, I just had the biggest crush on. Like, and he was several years older than me, but I just thought he was so good looking. And because, I mean, part of that, I fell in love with the character Sky Masterson.
Mhm.
So, like, from the time I was like 8, 9 years old, I always said that if I ever had a little boy, I would name my little boy Sky. I was going to name him Sky after Guys and Dolls. And then
Oh
I
yeah.
married Tom Walker. And I was like, I can't name my
I was
kid
gonna say I think they
Skywalker.
Skywalker. There you go. I was gonna say I met your
So
son and his name's not Sky. Yes, there you
that
go. I got
ruined
you.
it. That ruined it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Although I think that'd be cool, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So that ruined my 8-year-old dream of having a son named Sky after Guys and Dolls. So yeah. But I absolutely love that show. That yet again was in like my top 3 for the longest time. Um, it's such a good show and like good
When
music.
when we first started talking about doing this, I guess months ago, I actually went back and rewatched Guys and Dolls over again because it just is one of the ones that I wanted to make sure I talked. And now it's been so long that forget a lot of it. But just his hypochondriac girlfriend who he's been engaged to for like a decade. I forget what
Yeah.
was it, 7 years or something.
Yeah, Adelaide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
I wanted to be Adelaide. I like that was the role that I wanted to play on Broadway back when I didn't realize that like they took Broadway shows off of Broadway.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be her.
yeah. For the people that I guess I was gonna say Tom and Bob. I don't know if Tom. I know Tom's probably listening in now, but the concept or the story behind this is Frank Sinatra plays a gangster who runs a floating craps game, and he can't find a place to do it. And there's a couple of really big gamblers who show up to want to be in this craps game. So he's going to make a pile of money, but he just can't find a place for it. And one of the gamblers is Marlon Brando, and he bets Marlon Brando he needs $5,000 to secure a place to play the game. He bets that with Marlon Brando that he can't get a girl to fall in love with him in a day, and he picks the girl that runs the. It's like some kind of church
Yeah.
thing, and of course he winds up like taking her to Cuba like right after they meet, and they do fall in love, and it ends with that. But it's still, I mean, it's just a weird concept, but it's fantastic. And then the style is like 40s New York gangster style. It's fun. It's a very fun movie.
Oh, I love Guys and Dolls. And whenever I see like people that have like signs or pillows like I love you a bushel and a peck, that's where my brain goes. I'm like, you don't even know where that comes from. you know. But that's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, the other one that's not on this list that I can understand why it's not on this list, but Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I
Mhm.
that's one of the ones that I found in high school, and the music in that. Like I went out and bought the soundtrack, and the soundtrack lived in my car because the soundtrack is just rock music, I guess you could call it. I mean, it doesn't really sound like a Broadway show, and it's
Mhm. That was
um,
Neil Patrick Harris, wasn't it?
in the in one of them. Yeah, the
I don't know if he
original.
was the original, but
No, it was the guy
he
that wrote it
played.
who played Hedwig in the movie. But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, that's another one that I, for some reason, just never got into. And I don't even think that I've actually, other than he performed one of the songs in a show and I watched that.
mhm,
But for some reason, like it's really weird what catches my interest and like I obsess over like what I know every word to every song.
yeah,
And then like others are like, ah, yeah, that sounds like it's a cool show, and I just have never listened to it.
yeah. This was again when you say out loud what the plot is, but it's um, when he was a kid, he was in Germany during the Cold War, and he to escape West Germany. This young boy, youngish boy, fell in love with a soldier, got a botched sex change, which left him with an angry inch. The thing,
Mhm.
but he did bring him to America. He uh, done like split up with the guy who brought him over, the soldier, and he met another guy, and they started writing music together. The guy took his music and became famous. So now the guy's touring with the music and playing stadiums, and he'll play at buffets and little places at the same time the guy's playing in the big place with the same music, just trying to, I guess, prove that it's his stuff.
Mm.
And it's, I mean, it's weird, but it's weird in a good way.
That's definitely one I'll have to check out.
Yeah, and it plays with gender identities because obviously Hedwig's, I guess he'd be transsexual, but he's in the story after he breaks up with the other guy, he dates a woman who's in drag as a man.
Hmm.
So it's like a mixed couple that way. And
That's interesting. And I think that like that not saying that that's like a common thread, but like there, I mean, you've got uh what is it? My mind went blank.
And one of the big songs from that.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show
Yes.
is another one, like where like Broadway had that like I don't know what the word for it is. And then what's interesting is that I've never seen that all the way through Rocky Horror Picture Show.
See, that's also on the list. That was down further on the thing. But yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's one of the ones that in high school a friend took me to go see it in a small theater, the movie with a live cast in front of it. So they actually like act out the thing, and there's the whole audience participation where people kind of act along with the thing. But Richard O'Brien was the guy that wrote that, and he was originally wasn't Broadway because it was in England, and he later brought it to Broadway. But the music in that's just fantastic.
I've listened to the music,
yeah.
but I have never seen the movie all the way through.
The original cast, who are also in the movie, were Tim Curry, who's amazing in everything he does, and comes from he's an amazing actor, but he's recorded albums and stuff like that, so he's got that singing background. And Meatloaf, does a song and plays a role, but like he was in the original play too. He did Broadway music, or he did musicals before he was the real Meatloaf. He was in the original run of Hair too, I think. And it's just one of those things that it takes sci-fi movies.
Another one that's not on this list is Hair.
Yeah, I thought Hair was, but yeah.
Was it? I don't
know. We can look as we're good. But the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it takes sci-fi things and then just messes with them. It's
my mom had a very like warped sense of like what was allowed to be watched and what was not. Like I was not allowed to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, but like she was perfectly fine with me watching A Chorus Line, which is not on this list, but there is a song in there called Tits and Ass. She was okay with me going around singing that, but I could not watch Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror,
and I've asked her that recently. I'm like, why? And she was like, well, because A Chorus Line was really a Broadway musical. It was a real Broadway musical.
Tits and Ass is okay, but Sweet Transvestite's bad.
Yeah. Like she took me to go see A Chorus Line live. Like we went to Atlantic City and we watched it. So yeah, it was a little warped. It was a little warped. I mean, yeah.
Gotcha.
I could go all into it, but
Rocky Horror is one of the things that I've owned it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and then I've had the soundtrack on CD, and then I went back and bought it on vinyl. Then I brought the Australian cast on vinyl, and then there's even another one. I think it's the audience participation one. So they actually recorded the movie being played with people in the audience doing the audience participation stuff, which is awesome. So it's like you're kind of there, even if you're not.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's definitely something you should see live. Like it plays better live the first time, and then if you like it, you can watch it later. I like the idea. I think it's just one of the things that hits whatever part of my brain. I'm a big Tim Curry fan too, so.
I love Tim Curry. Yeah. Okay, so next on the list we have Wicked, and you mentioned earlier that you have not seen Wicked.
No, but I read the book when it first came out, and I liked the idea of the book. And I've read a couple.
I have also read the book.
Yeah.
I was very proud that I think that there's a sequel to it.
There's a whole series of books that he did. It's very just like the original. Well, I was going to say just like the original, but it's very political. Yes. I think there's some politics in the original Oz books too, but this is really like it's the witch before she became from her side. It's the witch's side of the story. Yeah.
Like how she became wicked.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I really like. And there's another musical that's very similar, not very similar, but like on a similar line of that. Like I like when they take a story that everybody knows and they retell it in a different way, like a way that you never even thought of. Actually, there's several that I really like that go along that same line that makes you think, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, I never thought of like why the Wicked Witch was wicked, but we saw this in Chicago, and it was a fantastic show. This was the show that finally pushed Phantom out of the number one spot,
Oh, okay.
because I became obsessed with this, and Katie actually really wants to go see it. We listen to the album all the time. Um, and I don't know if it's still in the number one spot, but I mean, it's up there. Like, if it's not number one, then it's number two, but which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend it. It's fantastic. The Chicago, like the touring, that's what we saw, was the tour, and that was great. Even though I think that it might be coming off Broadway. I could
Yeah.
be misspeaking there, but I think,
Okay. It says in the woman who played Elphaba, that Idina Menzel, she was the Frozen girl. The
yes,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, she
Yeah.
was also in Rent. She
Okay.
was in the original cast of Rent and played Maureen in the movie Rent. So I mean, she's a phenomenal actress. And she was married to Taye Diggs. Not anymore, but like she was. She was. But yeah, that's a fantastic show. And then we have Kinky Boots. And this is the Cyndi Lauper musical. And I've not seen it.
And I have not seen it either, but I am a big Cyndi Lauper fan.
I would love to go see it, based on purely that Wayne Brady played the lead character at some point. Like, I
Okay.
would love to see Wayne Brady do Kinky Boots. Like, yet again, I think it's like, I could be misspeaking, but I think it's like cross-dressing
Yeah,
type
I'm reading this.
situation.
It says
So
the story follows this guy who partners with a drag queen, and they produce a line of high-heeled boots to save his father's shoe factory.
yeah. So Wayne Brady played the cross-dresser. So I would have loved to have seen that. Like, because I love Wayne Brady. I love Wayne Brady. I think that he's super
Yeah,
talented.
I guess this was years ago now, but I was with my mom, and she was watching her soap opera, and Wayne Brady was like a doctor on the soap opera that stole a baby. I think it was The Bold and the Beautiful, and I just found it fascinating that Wayne Brady was on a soap opera.
Yeah, that doesn't. I don't think that, like, I don't know. Like, I can't see him being serious.
Well, he stole a baby, so it wasn't that. So I guess it was serious for a soap opera.
Yeah.
Oh, your baby died. I have it in my basement.
I don't know. I don't know.
But no, Cyndi Lauper was she was just Cyndi Lauper was coming or was big when I was in puberty. She was like one of those first crushes kind of things. It's like oh, I love Cindy Crawford or Cyndi Lauper, Cindy Crawford too, but Cyndi Lauper, like back from the Goonies, when she the Goonies are good enough, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun music video, and then
Mm-hmm.
taking this back to wrestling, um, I don't know if she probably introduced me to Captain Lou Albano. Like, I probably knew him from her stuff before I knew him as a wrestler, and then as Mario from the Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I could see her like writing like a really good musical. And talking about that, like, because it's like her music that's in the musical. Billy Joel had his own musical, Moving Up, and I totally forgot about that too.
Are these
I've listened to that album quite a bit. I
so?
mean, I love Billy Joel, so that.
So I guess these are like Mamma Mia, where it's just their songs being played through the musical.
Yes. Well, you know what? I could
We don't know
be
if we've ever seen it.
misspeaking. Kinky Boots could be like original music that she wrote,
Gotcha.
but like we just actually went to New York, and for my birthday, Tom and my mom got me tickets to the Broadway Museum, which is absolutely fantastic, and I would recommend anybody and everybody to go if you have any kind of interest in Broadway musicals. Um, and they called it jukebox
Okay,
musicals.
gotcha.
So like it was like Jersey Boys
Yeah,
and like Billy Joel's Moving Up, like Mamma Mia. It's like they took the music that these recording artists became famous for. And there's a new one. I can't remember what the new one was. But then they made a musical out of it, and like they had a whole section just for like jukebox musicals.
gotcha.
It was kind of interesting.
Apparently, Harvey Firestein wrote the book for it.
For Kinky Boots.
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. I remember a video of, I think it was Wayne Brady coming out with the boots and handing it to the next person that was taking over the role, or somebody was handing the boots to him. I can't remember, but like there's like this whole like tradition that goes on with it. I
Gotcha.
mean, it sounds like it's a cool musical. I have not had the chance to watch it.
I'm going to add it to my list too. Interesting.
And then next on our list is my mom's absolute least favorite, Fiddler on the Roof.
If I were a rich man,
Yeah.
yada 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 yada.
Or a matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Um, this is one that like I watched when I was a kid, maybe a couple of times, but it was definitely not one that like I would want to sit there like Hamilton. Like I could watch back like over and over and over.
Gotcha.
It'd be like, I watched Fiddler on the Roof. I'm good for 10 years.
Yeah, I've seen it once or twice. Whenever I think of this now, besides the Barbara Streisand, um, the dad Topol, he was in Flash Gordon as the scientist guy, the mad scientist.
Oh,
I
that's
always think
weird.
of that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really weird.
Dr. Zarkov. I think he's Greek. He's not even Jewish. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I could be
The,
wrong. I guess I could
the
look that.
dad?
The dad Topol. Yeah, is the name of the guy.
Huh. That's interesting.
Family share a flat. Blah, 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 blah. Oh no, he's definitely Jewish. Never mind. No,
He's
he's from Palestine now, Israel. Thought he was Greek, but I was wrong. He's the same guy though. That just had his
You're
location.
thinking of Mamma Mia. That's Greek. That's Greek.
He was the first Israeli actor to ever be nominated for an Academy Award.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. Like it's a good musical, but it's also like I don't know, I find it kind of boring.
It was so good that Gwen Stefani stole the song for one of her solo albums.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna have that stuck in my head now.
Yep.
All right, next up we got Chicago.
Chicago.
And I saw this maybe when I was like a sophomore or junior in high school with my choir. We did a trip up to watch a Broadway musical like once a year. And I had no idea what it was about. It like went completely over my head. And it wasn't until the movie came out and I actually sat down and watched the movie where I was like, oh, this is so good, but I didn't know what I was watching because it was just a bunch of cages and
Yeah.
like women like dancing around these cages and like I didn't understand the plot like at all. But when I finally saw the movie, it was like it all clicked and then I got obsessed with the movie for like the longest time. Not that it ever hit like the top 5,
Mhm.
but like I would say like top 10.
Yeah, this is another one of those gangstery type ones where there's you know, stuff going on behind the scenes and double crosses and stuff.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
it's definitely good. I've seen it once or twice. I
This
was
is
getting ready to confuse it with the other one. The next one's like my mom's favorite. Well, the movie version she saw. I don't think she ever saw the musical, but
well, Chicago was one of the
yeah.
ones that I wanted to play Roxy Hart. You notice that I wanted to play all these characters that were totally not my personality,
Mhm.
and I had no acting chops to pull it off. But like that, I wanted to play Roxy Hart.
Yeah,
After I saw the movie, at when I saw the show, I had no. I could have probably not even told you what her name was.
that was Renee Zellweger's part, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, and that cast was great for the movie. I
Mhm.
felt like they all like pulled their parts off like perfect. Um, what was the name of the guy? He was in Step Brothers. He did the
Oh, John
so
Riley. John Riley is
right.
actually a he's. I don't like that other guy, Will Ferrell, but I think John Riley's funny and entertaining. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I loved his performance in that, and like it was such a not a small part in that,
Mhm.
but like as not a lead, I felt like his song was so good, like
Queen
so good.
Latifah too, but it was a really good part in that.
The
As
who?
the Queen Latifah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right, so then next we have Moulin
Moulin
Rouge,
Rouge.
the musical.
Yeah, that's the one with oh well, I just had his name in my head and now I forgot it. He played Obi-Wan, right? The in the remakes. Why can't Ewan McGregor? Is that the Ewan McGregor one?
No.
No?
What is his name? Um, Aaron Tveit.
Okay.
Aaron Tveit is in Moulin Rouge currently.
Oh no,
I don't know if
I'm sorry. I was going with the movie. He was in the movie version. It's him and John Leguizamo.
well, the only reason why I know that is because I had the biggest crush on Aaron Tveit after he played in he was in Les Mis, the movie.
Okay.
And I mean like he is hot in that movie. And he's gone on to have, you know, some good roles since then. But he's currently right now on like doing Moulin Rouge on Broadway. But
Okay.
like he's coming off, like he's in his like last weeks. Don't ask me how I know this. We were just up there, so I don't stalk the guy.
It's okay. They don't listen.
Well, you know, yeah. But I've never seen the show and I've never seen the movie.
The movie's entertaining. Well, yeah, I think it's entertaining. And it's like I said, my mom kind of she likes Ewan McGregor, so she brings it up every time she. Well, and then I always think of the music video that came out when this was out because it was on like
Yes.
MTV and everything like constantly with
Christina
Christina. Yep.
Aguilera
Well,
and my what was her name? Maya
I don't know the rest of them. That's all that
in
mattered was
Pink.
Christina Aguilera in her Christina Aguilera sexy outfits that she was wearing
Yes.
at the time. Yes.
Yes. Actually at the Broadway Museum, they had one of the outfits from Moulin Rouge. And I didn't even post that on Facebook because it was so racy. But I mean, like, it was a pretty costume. Uh, but I couldn't post it on Facebook. I would love to see this. Like, I would love to see it. I like yet again, just I don't know why.
This was. I'm looking at this now, and this is one of the ones too where they're singing. At least in the movie, I don't know if it was in the musical, but they mix modern songs into the soundtrack. So like there was that whole. They did Diamond Dogs by David Bowie. They just start singing like in the movie. and
So
a
it's kind
couple
of
other
like a
things.
jukebox
Yeah,
musical.
like a Virgin. That's right. I remember that.
Hmm.
But it kind of works because they're doing it as part of the show that they're doing. So it's like I forget what they call that, where it's happening inside of the. There's a term for it where they're playing the music and everyone in the show can hear the music too.
So it's kind of like Cabaret, which
Yeah.
is
Yes.
also on this list,
Hmm.
where they're putting a show on for people that
Yes.
are not the audience per se.
Dietic. I forget what. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know. But that's pretty cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and it's Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman. I think was the female lead,
Hmm.
and it was okay. It was like during Nicole Kidman's height, so yeah. I want to say it was pre Tom Cruise Nicole Kidman too, but I could be wrong.
No,
No, okay.
I don't think so because didn't that movie come out in like 2000, 2001?
2001.
So yeah, they were like married in the 90s. That might have been like right when they were married,
Gotcha.
I think. So the next up we have Aladdin. And I've seen the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even know it was a Broadway musical.
I've seen the movie. I did know that it was a Broadway musical because I watched a video, and this was several years ago. They were traveling somewhere, and they got like laid over in an airport. Like the whole cast of Aladdin got stuck, and they were with another cast. And I think it might have been like the cast of Lion King. I don't know where they were all traveling, but like everybody was just stuck. So then they started just singing the songs from their show, like in the middle of the airport. And
Mhm.
like people were like recording it, and like they were dancing. And all I remember is the guy that played Aladdin was there. And like that's the only reason why I knew that this was a Broadway show, was from that little video on Facebook like several years ago. And I think it was Lion King was the other musical. I could be completely wrong. But now I'm curious. I'm going to have to look it up.
It says it while it was on the list of the top ones, so apparently it was a success. But it only won one Tony Award for Genie, who won Best Performance.
Yeah, and I remember that like he was very good and he was very believable, like very very believable. Yeah. And then the next one is Lion King, and I don't know. I've never had an interest in seeing this on
So, I
Broadway.
think that would be neat to see live just because of the costuming and stuff. But I've never, like, I saw the movie. I've never seen the musical.
Yeah, I think like out of like, see, I don't know. I wouldn't want to go see any of the like the Disney Broadway. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I found this out through the Disney, not the Disney, the Broadway Museum. Like back in the 90s, like Broadway was like in really bad shape.
Mhm.
And they found this like awakening when when Disney came in and actually put money into Broadway. So like they opened these shows and like they basically saved Broadway.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, all right, thank you, Disney, for that. But like also, like I don't want to see the Little
Which,
Mermaid on stage.
which,
Like I don't want to see the Lion King.
which
I've
is
seen those shows.
fascinating because those movies saved Disney. Disney was failing in the early '90s too. None of their movies were doing that great, and then they did. I forget which one. Maybe The Little Mermaid was first. I forget which one, but that kind of brought them back
I think it
And they,
was The Little Mermaid.
yeah, and then they went
I
from
think it
Little
was.
Mermaid to Aladdin to Beauty and the Beast being one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, and like
And,
they do have Beauty and the Beast was on Broadway.
yeah.
Like it's like basically all the big Disney hits have been on Broadway.
Well, the
Uh,
music's already written for it. You add a couple more songs. You
yeah.
do some fancy work, and there you go. It's already like half the work's done.
And really, I mean, when you think about it, like I've had several people ask me, like they're going to New York and they're like, okay, well, what show should we go see? And it's like, if you're not big into musicals, you can't go wrong with going and seeing a Disney show.
Yeah.
Like, if you like Lion King, then chances are you're probably going to like it up on stage, you know? Like, it's kind of a safe bet for people that don't want to spend the money and see a show that they might not like. Like,
Mhm.
a couple of my friends, they don't like rap. So it was kind of like, I wouldn't recommend go seeing Hamilton, you know?
Yeah.
But you might like The Lion King, you know. So I do see the big appeal of it, and
Or,
especially like kids would
or
go
if you like Smash Mouth, you go see Shrek the musical.
see it. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I
So
mean, like kids could go see Shrek
I
too.
got you. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, pretty much anybody could go see Shrek.
It's not on the list, but at the same time, they had uh, the Mel Brooks Frankenstein movie, which why can't I think it? Young Frankenstein. Duh.
Hmm.
Which I don't know if that was any good or not, but that sounds like something that I would have enjoyed.
Hmm. Was
Anyway,
that
next
on
on the list.
Broadway or was that just a movie?
It was on Broadway.
Oh,
Young
I didn't know that.
Frankenstein the musical. I don't think it did good. I think it must have been after the producer, so like let's see what other Mel Brooks stuff we could do, and they settled on Young Frankenstein for whatever reason.
Could be, could be. Next on the list is
Yeah.
The Sound of Music.
More Nazis. Woohoo!
Yes, more Nazis. Um,
And
this is
Mary,
also
that was Mary
like,
Poppins too, right? The Julie Andrews. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, yeah. This is not like one of my favorites. Like, I mean, I know that sounds absolutely horrible, but like the my favorite things,
Yeah.
it grates on my nerves. Like, I just think it's too many kids. Like
Yeah, and the
too
Do
many
Re Mi
kids.
song and a doe, a deer. We had to sing that in school.
Yes.
And the favorite things, a spoonful of sugar. I think that's from the same. No, that's from Mary
No, that's
Poppins.
from
Yeah,
Mary
yeah, yeah,
Poppins.
yeah. So long, farewell. That was it. From years
You
ago.
are 16,
Yeah.
going on 17. I mean, like, it's just like the music's just ingrained in your
Oh yeah.
brain, and like,
This is
like
a very going back to like this is a safe one. It's like, well, if you don't know that you like music, you'll probably find something in this you'll enjoy at least
yeah,
once. Yeah.
yeah. And yet again, like the story behind it is heartwarming and
Yeah.
nice and all that. But like, it would not be one of the ones that I would choose to go
No,
see.
I got you.
You know, there's not like anything that's like show stopping.
The hills are alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Next one up is Into the Woods. And this was one of my favorites for several years. I saw this um live at like a community theater,
Mhm.
and um I was not a big fan of the movie. Uh but if you go and you listen to like the original Broadway cast with Bernadette Peters, it's fantastic.
I do like Bernadette Peters.
Yeah, like, and Bernadette Peters plays the witch, and yet again, kind of like a precursor to Wicked, they kind of explain why she's the witch, like why she's wicked. Like they give a backstory to her, and like it's kind of fun because it's like it's all these storybook characters that their stories intertwine, and like the people that you think are good like make mistakes, and you know some of them just aren't good, and some of them are selfish, and then like they have to deal with the consequences of their story, or like somebody else's story. And like, I mean, it's just, it's really, it's a well done show. My mom absolutely hates it.
Okay.
But I love it. I love the music to it. And as I said, like Bernadette Peters, you can't get any better than Bernadette Peters. So
Did
yeah.
It's a Sondheim who did a lot of the other ones on this list.
Yeah, Sondheim is a huge Broadway composer. Yeah. And then we have Rent. And this was, have you ever seen Rent?
No, it's one of the ones that I want to see. Like, I know the story of it, and I know a couple of the songs. I've never actually seen the musical or anything.
This, I mean, it's a really good show.
Yeah.
And the movie is so well done. Even though I never did get to see it live.
Mm.
The movie, they brought back like the majority of the original cast. So yet again, you had Idell. I'm saying it wrong. It's Idina Menzel.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
saying it like, what's his name said it?
The Frozen girl. Frozen. Yeah. Elsa.
Yeah. So like they brought back, I think like everybody but like one person, and it was because like her character was supposed to be like 19 in the show.
Okay.
And by the time the movie came around, she felt that she looked too old to reprise her role. So they brought what's her name? She was in Clerks 2. What is her name?
Clerks 2?
I can see her face.
Rosario Dawson?
Yes, Rosario Dawson.
Okay.
They brought her in, and she did a pretty good job, like being up against like all these like very seasoned.
Well, Rosario Dawson was also in a movie called Kids, which I think has a similar storyline. It's people dealing with AIDS and just life on the street, kind of, which is, I think, what Rent's about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's got like a pretty good singing voice. Like it really did surprise me.
Interesting. I wouldn't picture her as a singer either. All right.
Mm-hmm. And then interestingly enough, one of the leads in the original is the guy that accused
oh, I know.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, he's one of the guys from that is that guy.
Okay.
So very interesting. But
there's like a list I'm keeping on the side here of stuff that I'm probably going to go back and watch eventually.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Rent's definitely on there. The next one on the list, I've never seen the musical, but I have listened to the soundtrack of the musical. In fact, I listened to it yesterday before when Tom mentioned we might be doing this. And I've seen the movie, like the original movie, a lot. It's Hairspray. It's based off of a John Waters movie. John Waters has written at least one musical I know of. He did Crybaby, which is a fantastic Johnny Depp movie, which was a musical with Iggy Pop, and it's just really good. And Hairspray is 1960s Baltimore. The Hello Baltimore song just got stuck in my head the rest of the day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I sing it to my kids all the time, which is not like, I cut off the inappropriate stuff.
Yeah. It's basically racial integration in Baltimore in the 60s. Then it's just John Waters is awesome. I can't recommend John Waters enough. And this is probably one of his most accessible movies, Hairspray.
It has such a good like lesson behind it. There's several lessons that go.
It's not just racial integration, but it's your main star. At least in the original movie was Ricky Lake, and it was about a big woman becoming a dancer on a like bandstand kind of show, and falling in love with the lead of the dance show.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say that I did not care for when The latest one that they did was it was Hairspray Live, and I can't remember what the character's name is. It's like Ricky Lake's character's best friend, and they casted Ariana Grande, and like it was all wrong, and everybody was like, "Oh, she did such a great job," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, like as crazy as it is." There was another movie that Amanda Bynes was that character from All That,
Yeah,
and
that
she
was
did
the
a fantastic job.
the John Travolta one. That I think they made that. I don't know if it was before the musical or after. It was around the same time as the musical was out. And the original, I don't remember who it was, but her parents were played by Sonny Bono and Debbie Harry from Blondie.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. I don't remember much about the Ricky Lake version, actually.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, I
But
always know where you.
yeah, the Ariana Grande was like a no-go for me. I mean, I don't mind her, and I don't mind, like, I really don't.
I
She just was not a good fit for that role.
Yeah, I don't know much about her other than that she just. I think she looks weird. I think she looks way too young. She
Yeah.
got this young look. She weirds me out for some reason. I don't know why. Might be
Yeah.
the high ponytail. High ponytail is kind of weird.
Yeah, there's a lot that's
Yeah.
weird. There's a lot that's weird.
Anyway, this is like the rich part of the list because we just went from Hairspray, and the next one on the list is Little Shop of Horrors,
Mhm.
which again, this started out like in the '60s as a Roger Corman black and white movie. Um, yeah, everyone knows a monster plan eats people, and then in the '80s they turned it into a musical with Rick Moranis,
Which was
and
one of my favorite movies.
oh yeah,
One of my favorite movies.
It's-
But you know what really surprised me looking at this list? Did you see who wrote the music?
no, Alan Menken. Okay,
He wrote Aladdin.
oh
And it was
okay,
kind of like, oh, I did not know that. Like,
uh,
how many hundreds of times have I watched Little Shop of Horrors and
I
never
don't
knew?
I don't
Ne-
know if it's the same music in the Broadway play as it is in the one with Rick Moranis, but it's been forever since I've seen it, but I can still sing. I'll be a dentist. I got that song stuck in my head, and the Greek chorus played by the black girls, the black
uh-huh.
doo-wop girls. It's just awesome stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah. And
and of
like the
course,
harmonies that they
uh,
do is just fantastic.
the Audrey 2 the plant is Levon Helm. It's the guy from the Four Tops. He's a very well
Mhm.
at the time he was a famous singer. And when I was a kid, well, I guess we're the same age. There was a cartoon too that didn't last long, but it was a very bad Little Shop of Horrors cartoon.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. But I mean, that is, and I have seen that done by like a high school.
yeah.
So, not like professional quality or anything like
It was
that. But
in the Rick Moranis one. You got Steve Martin as the dentist, and
mhm.
the patient who loves pain is played by Bill Murray. In the original Little Shop of Horrors,
Mhm.
it was a very young Jack Nicholson who played the patient, the guy who really likes the
Hmm.
pain. I'm gonna tell all my friends about you. That guy.
That is fantastic. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I obsessed over that movie when I was a kid all the time, which is funny because I think my kids have seen it like once. But I also think that that is where my fear of dentists came from.
Could be.
Right there. Yeah.
Little shop of horrors. Do 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 do.
So next is In the Heights. And this is another Lin Manuel Miranda musical. Um, I have not seen this. They just put out a movie. And I still have not seen it, but I do want to see it. interestingly enough, like in this and in Hamilton, I don't know what he plays in the Heights, but in Hamilton he plays George Washington. And it's Chris Jackson, that's his name. And he is from around where we live. So like he grew up here.
Okay.
And he's kind of like the hometown hero, like quietly.
Where you live?
Huh?
Where you live?
Yes.
You're talking,
Yes.
yeah.
Like where we live. Like
Gotcha.
he grew up pretty close around here. So like that's like kind of our like little connection.
Okay.
And I know that he was in the Heights. He actually was the father in Moana, because Miranda wrote the music for Moana too.
Okay.
So like it's kind of interesting that like a lot of the same people that were in Hamilton are also in the Heights, and then several of them made appearances in Moana. It's kind of weird how that. I keep on hitting my mic. It's kind of weird how that works, you know. But yeah, I've not seen it. I would like to see it. Just, you know, when you have kids that don't like musicals, it's hard to,
Gotcha.
you know, sit down and watch them, you know.
Well, I'm sure the kids like the next one on the list. We got good old Mary Poppins, which again I didn't know was a Broadway play.
I think I knew about it, but yet again, I don't know if it's one that I would necessarily go see. Like,
Yeah.
I think that yet again, like, I wouldn't want to ruin the movie in my head. And now that you say that, I think my kids have only seen it like once. So I am a horrible Broadway mom. I'm a horrible Broadway mom. I've done this to myself. But yeah, it's just one of those movies that I don't think of. But like I love it. I mean, it's got Julie Andrews, and it's got Dick Van Dyke. You know, I mean, like what else? It has a bird lady. I mean, what else can you ask for?
And going back to where I live, oh Jesus Christ, the uncle, the crazy uncle, who was also the Mad Hatter. He was a Philadelphia local, and I can't think of his name now because I've had too much to drink again. Edwin, Philadelphian Edwin. Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay.
That is pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Singing in the Rain next.
I've never seen that.
It's a fantastic movie. This is a silent actor going into sound film, and yeah, it's just one of those classic ones that you at least need to see once or twice. I don't know much about the musical, but I know about the movie. It says it follows the same plot, so it's just fun. It's a very fun movie.
I mean, I've seen the scene. I've seen the
Oh, yeah.
famous scene, but I've never like seen the movie. So I'm not sure. Next we have My Fair Lady, and this was another one of my favorites. I was going to play Eliza Doolittle when I grew up. I had the, you know, the what is that? What is that accent called? Cockney.
Yeah.
Like I would spend hours practicing
London.
my accent. I loved this movie. I loved it. I thought it was so well done. But actually, Julie Andrews originated the role of Eliza Doolittle on Broadway. And then when the movie came up, something happened. I can't remember what happened, but they offered it to Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn, yeah.
Yes.
Who I think is fantastic.
And that's how Julie Andrews got Mary Poppins.
Okay.
But she like Yeah, actually. Oh, it doesn't say there.
Going back to Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's fantastic, and everyone should watch it. And I think she's insanely hot. And Sabrina with Humphrey Bogart's another one of my big favorites. So you put Humphrey Bogart in a movie with Audrey Hepburn, and it's really good.
That's another one that I have not seen.
Sabrina's it's a love story. It's a stupid love story, but it's entertaining. She's in love with she's the chauffeur yeah. She's the chauffeur's daughter. She's in love with the younger brother of the family that they chauffeur for. And he's a womanizer and just like bangs whatever he things. And they send her off to become a chef in Paris. And she has a glow up while she's in Paris. So she comes back all hot. And the younger brother falls in love with her because she's hot now and not just the chauffeur's daughter. And Humphrey Bogart's the older brother who's all business and has never been in love. And he's like, well, you can't fall in love with her. You got to marry this other woman so we can have their plastic business. So the younger brother winds up getting injured. I don't know why we're talking about Sabrina now. The younger brother gets injured. And Humphrey Bogart winds up taking her like on little dates and stuff while the brother is supposed to be healing. And he winds up falling in love with her. And they fall in love with each other kind of as they're kind of getting her off the mind of the other one. And it's weird because Audrey Hepburn's obviously either a teenager in her 20s while this is going on, and Humphrey Bogart is obviously in his 40s. So it's a big age difference, but it's cute the way they do it. And then Breakfast at Tiffany's is just Breakfast at Tiffany's. That's just Truman Capote, and I don't know the male lead's name, but he's fantastic. And if you look past the Mickey Rooney playing the Asian guy, it's a fantastic movie.
Oh, I have to check them out.
She
have not seen either of them.
Yeah.
You know, my jam was My Fair Lady. That's about as cultured as I was growing up. Okay, so next
falls mainly on the plane.
Huh?
The rain in Spain. Falls
oh yeah. Next we have yet again one of my favorites, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. And there is a stage recording of this. Like they're actually like up on the stage, and they like Hamilton, where they record the actual like stage show, and that is like phenomenal. But then when they redid it with Johnny Depp, like I loved that too.
That's the one I know. I've seen that a couple of times.
It's a little different. Like they changed some stuff with the movie, but I mean, like it's so well done. And this was Sondheim.
Mm-hmm.
And the music behind it is like genius because he took I'm probably going to butcher it, Dies Irae, which is like the old Catholic dirge about Judgment Day. And like he like laces that throughout the show. So like every time like somebody's going to die, like the death song plays.
Mm-hmm.
And like even like Todd's daughter, when she's singing her little thing, it has the song in it, but it's like reversed. Yeah. Like it's absolutely brilliant. There's a YouTube video on it that the guy goes in and he like basically like takes apart the music of it and shows like just the brilliance behind it. And it does like it like knowing that, going back and watching either of them, because it's in both the movie and the stage show, it like gives you a sense of like dread and like uneasiness. And that's not even like, that's like besides the whole like killing people and eating meat pies.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, it may not have Nazis in it, but it's got cannibalism, so it's just as good.
Yeah, but it's like it like I don't know, like it's
And
like
revenge, just a really good revenge. And of course, the movie had Alan Rickman, which is just he's fantastic in everything he's in.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
And it's surprising. I remember Sacha Baron Cohen's song being really well, like a really good rather.
yeah, he
And I
did
was
really
surprised.
well.
Yeah, like I like Sacha Baron Cohen, but I never really thought of him as a singer. And he was, yeah, it's good.
Or like a serious, like
Yeah,
in a serious role. Like he did really, really well. He did like the whole cast was really well planned out. You
yeah.
know,
Oh,
they did really good. But the stage
Tim Burton
show
singers.
is
Yeah,
phenomenal. Yeah.
it was a Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie, so they're usually entertaining.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they paid tribute to the stage show very well. They
Mhm.
didn't like try to reinvent the wheel. They took what was great about it and they managed to translate it to like a movie, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
instead of just the stage. So up next we've got Newsies the musical. I'm sure that you watch this every day.
Yeah, I know that there was a movie in the '90s. I didn't know, like, I never saw that, and I never saw the musical. Apparently, it's another Alan Menken, though.
I was
That
gonna
was a
say
Disney.
it's another Alan Menken.
Yeah,
Alan Menken apparently is a Broadway dude.
yeah, yeah.
No, I've never seen the movie. I've
Okay,
never
so
seen the musical. I've
let
heard
let's
great
skip that and
things.
go to the next one then, because the next one's the one I've been waiting to talk about because it's the one
Yes.
that's probably my favorite on the list, even with Rocky Horror Picture Show. And it's one of the ones that I never expected to like. Like I read what it was about, like, oh, this sounds really good. I got to watch it. And then I watched it, like, well, this is really good. And then the music just stuck in my head. And then I got the soundtrack, and it was like I'm really listening to a musical soundtrack just for fun. And
Uh-huh.
it's cabaret. It's Nazi Germany in the 20s with like sex, lots and lots of sex with like threesomes and women having sex together. And there's a whole song by Joel Grey called Two Women, they're two ladies rather, where he talks about having sex with two ladies at the same time. And it's got the money song, the money, money, money makes the world go around the world. Yeah, it's
You know
just,
what's funny?
it's
I was
amazing.
allowed to watch this, but I was not allowed to watch.
Which is just nuts because, like I said, she's. Do they actually come out and say that she's a prostitute? She's pretty much a prostitute,
Hey,
Liza
I
Minnelli.
think that
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was I think that
And then
that's like implied.
and then she falls in love with a man whore, and they're being kept by this other rich guy who's just like, "Well, come stay in my villa, and we'll have sex together with everyone in all different kinds of ways." Well, Joe Gray dresses in makeup and sings at the cabaret.
Yes.
Joel
And
Gray, by the way, is it the Dirty
Jennifer
Dancing?
Grey's
Yeah, Jennifer
dad.
Gray's dad, who
Yeah.
came out later as gay. He's just like, oh, I know I have kids and I was married, but I'm a gay man, and it's just
Well, and you're
it's awesome.
completely going by that it's a Liza Minnelli.
Yes, this is
So,
true.
you know, it's what's her name's
Judy
daughter.
Garland. Yeah,
And it's like one of the best songs in musical. Like one of my favorite songs is that maybe this time for the first time. Like I love that. I love it, especially if like whoever's singing it does it right. It's
there's just
beautiful.
I remember there's just a random scene where they're driving out of town and Nazis are beating up people standing in a line because it's like I said, it's Germany right during the rise of power. So it's all this stuff going on while Germany's falling to the Nazis. It's just
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yet again, I was allowed to watch that, but I wasn't allowed to watch
Two
Rocky
ladies.
Horror
There's a
Picture
whole song about having sex with two ladies. Da 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 da
Show.
da.
There's
Two
nothing wrong
ladies.
with
Da da
that.
da
There's
da.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No, nothing wrong. All right, so then we have Music Man, and I saw this on Broadway. Um, and the cool thing about this is that it's got Hugh Jackman, even though he is coming off of Broadway, like I think he's in his last like weeks of being on Broadway. Not one of my favorite shows. It's like a con artist goes into a small town and like basically tells the people that, they've got a problem, that their kids are going to be corrupted, and because of the pool house, like the pool table, like pool tables,
Mhm.
So they need to start a marching band, but the problem is that he doesn't know how to actually play. He just sells them the instruments and then leaves. But I mean, like, it's a cute show, but not one of my favorites.
Isn't that, I think The Simpsons?
Yes,
Yeah,
the monorail,
yeah.
monorail,
There's a
monorail,
spoof of that. Yeah,
monorail. Yeah,
Found this on the web.
that's like all I know about the music, man. And is that Shibubi? Did Shibubi come from
Yeah.
there too? Yes.
yeah. That's because that's an actual song. Now, I will say the music's really good. The music's really good. So, like, if you go and you listen to it, like, there's the Shapoopy, and then uh there's one where it's a bunch of ladies and they're like gossiping, and I can't remember. It's like chick a little, peck a little. I mean, like, they're literally like, it's like imitating chickens.
It's pick a little, talk a little. Yeah.
Yes. They're literally like imitating chickens. So I mean, like, it's a cute show. It's a
Okay.
really cute show, and it's really well done. And there's one of the prettiest. I wouldn't even say it's a love song, but I sing it to my kids all the time. It's like, good night, my someone.
Yeah.
Like, basically, like, like, she's like saying goodnight to whoever her love is, even though she doesn't know who they are. I mean, there's some really good music in it. It's just that, like, I don't know, it doesn't have the showy.
Apparently, the Beatles covered a song from it too. Till There Was You.
Yes. Yeah. Who covered it?
The Beatles
Oh, I
on
didn't know that.
their first album, Meet the Beatles.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend it. I
Okay.
would recommend it. It's not one that I absolutely hate, but
I think I'm gonna watch Rent first, but I'll put it on the list.
yes, yeah. Definitely put the next one on the list. It's Beauty and the Beast, the musical. We don't have to spend too much time on it, other than the fact that we can say that it was also, the music was written by Alan Menken. So, or Menken, or however you say his name. Yet another one. The only thing I can say about this, do you remember that show, Trading Places?
Yes.
Paige, the host,
Yes.
she played the French
Oh,
duster.
the duster, feather duster.
Yes, on Broadway,
Well, that's
in
fascinating.
Beauty and the Beast. I don't know why that stuck with me all these years.
Do you ever see the show Love It or List It?
Yes.
Yeah. The decorator in that, in the very beginning of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which you've never seen, so I don't know why I'm telling you this, but at the very beginning of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, there's a wedding happening. She's the bride in the wedding.
Oh,
She plays
is
Betty
she the
Monroe.
one that has the white? No, that's not the one that has the white stripe.
There's a song where Brad proposes to her and he gives her the rings. It's nicer than Betty Monroe had. She plays Betty Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I have to sit down and watch it.
Gotcha.
I have to sit down and watch it. I'll have to call my mom and ask for permission first,
There you
though.
go.
Yeah. The next one is Come From Way.
Never heard of this one.
And I've heard of it, but I don't know what it's about. I
It's a
think there's
nine.
people that just like talk and sing.
It's a 9/11 musical. It's a story set in Gander, a town in Canada where 38 planes from the 9/11 attacks landed, and it's about the residents and the refugees in the weeks following the attacks. So we're going to skip that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I would really care for that.
The next one, though, who the hell do you think you are? Jesus Christ Superstar.
This is. I said that Phantom was my favorite, but like, I think that from like when I was old enough to talk. Like if I had to do like my longest favorite musical, like it would be Jesus Christ Superstar. Like this, like I know every word of this movie and I have watched every version of it, and like I just absolutely love it. And this is another instance where like kind of like Wicked, where they kind of put the backstory of, you know, like this is why she was wicked. Like I feel like with this, they like give Judas a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of like Judas was bad, he did this and whatever, like they made him like part of the plan. And like they also like made Jesus like double think, which is like not what like the story that you get told, but it makes a lot of sense. But like the whole story of it is put to like really awesome rock music.
Yes.
And like
I
as I
this,
said,
this is one where
I know every word.
yeah, I've never seen the show, but I've heard the soundtrack a couple of times.
Oh, you
Yeah.
have to see the show. Like my favorite is the movie from the 70s. And I actually got to go see the two guys that played Judas and Jesus in Philly. And the guy that played Judas died not long after that. He had some sort of illness. I don't remember what illness he had. But Ted Neely, like up until I think like 2016 was still going and performing and hitting those like really super like high like not screech but
Mhm.
like the screamo rock, you
Gotcha.
know,
Yeah.
just phenomenal, just phenomenal. I was not a huge fan of John Legend in the live version. The guy that played Judas was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved him, but like yeah, like John Legend just didn't do it for me. Kind of like Ariana Grande. Like I think that they just put a big name there and they're
Gotcha.
like, here. And it's like, no, I like the guy that played Judas that was actually like on Broadway. Like I
He's
like him. I like
he's
him.
married to somebody famous too, isn't he? John Legend.
Yeah, Chrissy Teigen.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then apparently he was a big reason why they did Jesus Christ Superstar live. So like he's the one that pushed it. So I mean, I guess I can't hate him, but that is like my mom jokes that that was like my church growing up. Like this was me reading the Bible. You know,
I
I
don't
like love
I don't
love
think
that
it's in
musical.
here, but I confuse that a lot with Godspell.
I also watched a lot of Godspell.
Yeah. I like
And
Godspell.
what's funny, Godspell's not even on this list,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
the one lady from Godspell was the lieutenant, or was it lieutenant or captain from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, the TV show.
Oh, she's the chief rather, and
Chief, yeah, chief.
she was also I know her because she was the voice on the radio in The Warriors, which is an awesome movie.
Yeah, and she died young. She
Yeah.
died young. But yeah, that's where I know her from, is from Godspell.
Have you ever seen The Warriors?
No.
It was it's a retelling of a Greek play, but set in oh god, the book was set in the 50s. The movie was set in some magical time in the 80s, maybe the 70s, where you have different gangs of New York, and they decide that this one guy comes up and says, "Hey, if we team up, there's way more of us than there are cops in New York, so we should team up and take over the city." And as he's giving this speech, somebody shoots him, and they blame it on the Warriors. So now the Warriors have to make it from Manhattan, where the shooting happened, back to their home turf in Coney Island. And
Hmm.
it's like they're moving along, and different gangs are attacking them and coming after them. And while this is happening, there's a radio broadcast saying where the Warriors were last seen, and that's the voice of that woman you were just talking about.
Oh yeah,
And
that's pretty cool.
because it was a '70s movie in New York, a lot of the cast were dancers and stuff like that. And because they were dancers from the '70s, a lot of them wound up dying from AIDS. So there's not a lot of them left.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a really. I mean, it's an entertaining movie.
unfortunately, that like I mean that's the whole point of Rent, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking of it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Waitress.
Yeah, I've never.
I've never seen this, but I got obsessed. There is a song on there, from there rather, called "She Used to Be Mine," and I got obsessed with that song. I mean, absolutely beautiful. It's like talking about like she's a waitress at a diner, and she's like in a bad marriage, and she's basically saving up money to like escape the marriage, and then she finds out she's pregnant.
Mhm.
So she's talking about like in the song she's talking about how like she used to be fearless, and she used to do this, and she used to do that, and she used to be this, but like that person's gone, and now like she's stuck, you know. And like I don't know, as a parent that can't sit and watch musicals because my kids hate them,
Mhm.
there's a little part that like as a woman you kind like, even though like I'm not in a bad marriage or anything like that, and I'm not stuck, but there is like a part where you're like, oh, I gave up the dream of being Adelaide on Broadway for the marriage and the kids and the house and all that. So
Mhm.
like there is something like really beautiful about that. As I said, even though like the whole like bad marriage and being stuck is not
I got
what
you.
um what I see in that. But I would like to go see this. This is on my list of things to go see. They do have, I don't think it's on Broadway right now, but they do like tours. So maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Apparently, it started out as a film and became a Broadway play, and they're both fairly recent. The movie came out in 2007, and the Broadway premiere was 2016. So
Yeah.
it's newish. Yeah.
And it was written by, I can't ever say her last name, but Sarah Bareilles. Um, uh, I'm not gonna write you a love song because you asked for it. That one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so she wrote the musical, like she wrote the music for it. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Next up you've got Miss Saigon. And I have seen parts of it. I've not seen it live. Um
Yeah, we don't got Nazis, but we got the Vietnam War. A
yeah,
musical set in Saigon during the Vietnam War.
yes, and this is about like soldiers that were over there, and then they fathered kids and then got pulled out of Saigon, and like leaving these women. And that's what this follows, is this
Okay.
this girl who ends up having a kid with a soldier, and then the soldier gets pulled out, and she's kind of left trying to fix things,
I got you.
so I have followed, like I have like watched several parts of it. um there are some beautiful songs in this musical. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Yet again, like as a mom, there's parts that I like connect to, like she's talking about like how she would lay her life down for her
Yeah.
kid, and it's like, oh, yep, there you go. That's totally where I'm at, uh Mama Mia, your favorite.
Yeah, I'm not a big ABBA fan, so when you make a musical all about ABBA and then you put an old Cher in the not the lead role, but like as a main thing, it's
That was in the second Mama Mia. That was in the
Cher
sequel.
wasn't. Who was the mom in the first one? I thought Cher was
uh
the. Cher's not the mom.
Meryl, no, is it Meryl
Meryl
Streep?
Streep. Oh, okay. Well, Meryl Streep's not terrible, but I just
First one was good. I didn't see the second one.
James Bond was one of the dads, right? You take James Bond and you make him one of the dads. I can't think of his name now.
The one
Pierce Brosnan.
from what was that movie that he choked on food? Miss Doubtfire.
Yeah, it was Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie.
Meh.
I didn't know how realistic it was that this all these people are supposed to be in Greece and everybody has like blonde hair and like fair skin and
then you got Amanda Seyfried with her weird eyes that are all far apart.
Yeah. So and I mean,
do like Stellan Skarsgård though. I forgot he was in it.
And she actually did an interview not that long ago, like talking about like her earlier movies. Like she didn't know how to sing, and like I look back on it, like when I was watching it, like she's got an okay voice. She just wasn't really secure in it, you know? So I think that like yet again, I think that they went with like big names instead of looking at like who can actually like play the roles.
Yeah.
You know?
I do like so I forgot like Colin Firth is one of the other guys and
yeah, and I can't remember the other dad. There's another dad. And the Meryl Streep's two friends are really funny. The one is she was in The Grinch, in Jim Carrey's Grinch.
I think the two. One of them was Christine Baranski, who played
her.
Yeah.
She was the one that was in The Grinch. She's hilarious. But then the other lady's really funny too.
Julie Walters, who was she's a dame. I've never Educating Rita, Girls' Night, Billy Elliot, and I never Harry Potter. Apparently, she was in the Harry Potter movies, but doesn't say who she played.
I don't know.
Harry Potter. Oh, Molly Weasley. She played Molly Weasley, the Weasley's mom.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
Anyway, next is Grease. Grease is awesome. I don't know if we need to say more than that.
Grease is awesome. I've never seen it live, but the movie, I don't know if you could touch the movie.
Yeah, the movie's the only thing I know about it, and yeah.
Like yet again, I think that would be like a good thing to like suggest because like everybody knows what you're getting into. Yeah, like I love the movie. I'm not a big fan of the sequel. You know,
I've never seen the sequel. There was, I want to say it was College Humor, and I don't know if Tom's still listening, and maybe not, but there was somebody did a spoof of it where they're doing that the song in the beginning, tell me more. Did she put up a fight? And I was like, what does that happen with you? The girls put up a fight?
did see that. I did see that. Like the
date
like
rating
we were talking about how it didn't age well.
Yeah.
I did see that. That is funny.
And of course,
and they're like, this isn't cool. This isn't cool.
Olivia Newton-John and why can't I think of his name? That guy, you know that guy, the guy who's probably gay but won't.
John Travolta.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have another Andrew Lloyd Webber one, Evita.
The only thing I know about this is Madonna and that song.
And what is his name? The it starts with his last name. His first name's Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
There you go.
That's it,
yeah. I remember like the part that I remember the most of that movie is him coming in and oh what a circus, oh what a show. That's my favorite song from that musical. So yeah, that's what I remember is Madonna and him singing that song. Like I don't remember the plot of it, but
somebody was talking about this recently too. I think it was because like Madonna had that run where she was doing movies and they were all doing really good, and then she did a couple of like what would you call them? Not like what the hell? They had names like she was there was nudity, but it was like a thriller. They called them something, and they bombed. And then she didn't do movies for a while, and then she came back with this. It was like her comeback movie, and because she was playing a singer, um, yeah, or something was good.
Yeah, I liked her in that, and I liked her in a League of Their Own. Like that.
Yeah,
That's like the two things that I thought Madonna did very well, like acting wise. Um, but like as far as Andrew Lloyd Webber shows go, like Evita's not like my favorite. But I would go see it live. I think I would go see it live, if that makes sense.
and then we got Annie.
I like the original, but I'm not sure if I cared for any of the 15 remakes that they've done.
Yeah, I remember the original movie with well, not the original. I guess it was the original movie, the one with oh man, Carol Burnett.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
We won't talk about the one where that role was played by Cameron Diaz.
Oh,
Yeah. Annie, I think, is another like safe bet. I mean, how can you hate the original Annie? Like it was so well done. The 80s,
is that the one with
like
Christian
right there
Chenoweth?
for you.
Who did Christian Chenoweth play?
She played Brewster's girlfriend.
Huh. I had Victor Garber though. Oh, it doesn't sound like it'd be that bad. I don't know. Alan Cumming. Huh.
That the one I don't know. There's about like
Yeah,
five
there's a nine.
names.
I'm looking at it too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Albert Finney though, and Carol Burnett. There you go. And Tim Curry. I thought Tim Curry was in that. Tim Curry comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. Next we got Hello Dolly. I've never actually seen it. The only thing interesting I can say is the famous red dress that she's walking down. I've seen that like this close. That was at the museum, and the headdress was at the museum. So, like that's cool. And I know the well, hello, Dolly. I mean, other than that, I can't tell you what the show's about.
She was a matchmaker. I think this gave us. I'm looking to see. I could be wrong, so I should probably not talk. But yeah, I'm not going to talk anything about it. I never saw it either, but I know there was famous people that did the Broadway thing of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bernadette Peters, Carol Channing, they both played Dolly, and that's what was really cool about the museum was that I think it was Bernadette Peters' dress that was on display, and then I think it was Carol Channing's headdress that was like so. I mean, like literally had like it was almost like Bernadette Peters standing right in front of you. It was really cool. But like as I said, I've never seen the show. And then we have Oklahoma. And I would like to know.
Where the sun shines. I know the music. I've never actually seen the show though.
You've never seen Oklahoma?
Nope.
It's an interesting show. I mean, it's all right. It's got a nice like plot to it, but then enough dancing. Like it's like they've got plot and then like, oh, okay, we're gonna do square dancing, you know, bunch of corn, you know.
Corn's good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why it's been around for so long, you know.
Yeah.
All right, and then you got your favorite, the Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah, we kind of already talked about that.
Yep.
And then Funny Girl is after that, which I've never seen.
I have never seen this, but I actually sang one of the songs when I was in pageants. It was one of my most successful songs. It was Don't Rain on My Parade. And I would not go see this because that Lee Michelle from Glee.
Okay, it's Lee Michelle, yeah.
She's playing the lead right now.
Uh,
So I would not. I really don't care for her.
Lee Michelle hate.
Huh?
Lee Michelle hate. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but it's somewhat based off of a real live Broadway star, Fanny Bryce. So that makes it interesting.
So it's not on the list, but that kind of reminds me of was it called Born on the 4th of July? The one about oh wow, I've had too much to drink. Oh come on. Blah, 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 blah. Born on the 4th of July, real live version of my Uncle Sam.
Yankee Doodle?
That's it. Yeah. Because that was based on that guy too, who wrote all the musicals and stuff. Thank you. Yes. Yankee Doodle Dandy.
That was a musical?
Yeah.
Oh.
I sworn it was. I could be wrong.
You learn something new every day.
No, but I'm sorry. No, it was only a film. It was a musical film. But it was based on George M. Cohan, who wrote all those Broadway plays.
You said that, and for some reason this popped in my head. It's not on the list, but Annie Get Your Gun, based off of Annie Oakley, and that was based off of a real person.
Yeah. But this was his life story of him coming up on Broadway, the vaudeville to Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, plays like James Cagney.
Yeah. Next up, Legally Blonde. I've seen the movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to.
I do remember that they, and I can't remember where, but I saw the performance. There's one song that's like, oh my God, you guys. And I mean, it is the most like Valley Girl, high pitch, like annoying, like earworm. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Legally Blonde.
I've never heard of the next one either. So
Spring Awakening. The only thing I know about that, Lee Michelle was in it.
Oh, there you go.
And she was starring opposite Jonathan Groff, who played Kristoff in Frozen. And he also played the king in Hamilton. And he's gay. And she did an interview like not that long ago about like how when they were in the show, they were both like very, very naive. And I don't know how it came about, but she showed him her bits. And I don't know why, but that stuck in my head. Spring Awakening. That's basically what the musical's about.
Yeah, it says here it's about a group of teenagers undergoing puberty and highlights social issues like suicide, teenage pregnancy, and abuse. The failure of adults to properly guide the youth in their naivete.
Yeah.
Words.
She said that it was something to do with the show, that like he had never seen one, so she showed him hers, and it was kind of like, okay, I don't know if I would be like announcing that to like everybody. I like, cool. I mean, I support you, but you don't have to like tell everybody, you know? Yeah. So that's all I know about that. That's all I know about Spring Awakening.
So every time
a little bit of a tidbit there.
I hear Spring Awakening, now I'm going to think of Lea Michele's vagina.
Well, that's exactly what I think of. It's exactly what I think of.
Oliver's Next. I never seen the musical. I've seen the movie Oliver Twist, and I've seen the Disney cartoon featuring Billy Joel, Oliver and Company. That's Oliver Twist, but with dogs. That had
Hmm.
music.
I saw this live once,
Uh,
and I just remember like parts of it being like so sad. So like I just never went out of my way to watch it again. But I do remember like watching the dog version and Oliver Twist, but
how can you worry? Yeah. And then, please, sir, can I have some more? They're the only two things I know about Oliver Twist.
yeah.
Ooh, and the kid that played Artful Dodger was in. I think it was him. He played the main character in HR Puffin stuff. He
Oh.
has a weird lisp, not lisp. Like his R's come out weird, like Elmer Fudd,
Hmm.
because he's got Freddy the Flute. HR Puffin stuff. Not Billy Hayes. Billy Hayes was the other thing. Jack Wild. That's it. Jack Wild. Let me just verify. Not that it matters. Actor, singer, Oliver. Yeah, he was in. Oh, he was in the musical version. Okay, in the West End theater production. There you go.
Oh, well, there you go.
He went from that to HR Puffin stuff, and then died of oral cancer in 2006. So that's a bummer.
Well, that is sad.
Was he at least old? He's 53. Oh well.
My goodness.
Next, we got Matilda the musical.
Um, I've seen the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with the little Italian guy, Danny DeVito. That was
Yes.
Matilda, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and that girl that left Hollywood and what is her name? Something Mara?
She became like a podcaster or something, some kind of web person. Yeah.
Yeah. They just recently now number one, the music's by Tim Minchin, and he played Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. There's recordings of him playing, and he was fantastic, like fantastic as Judas. Um, but he wrote the music for Matilda. They just released a movie version of the musical, and what was it like last week? I want to watch it. But like as I said, my kids will not sit down and watch the stuff with me. I caught my daughter watching it in her room by herself, and I'm like, "Hello. Like I love musicals and you're watching it by yourself." And she's like, "Well, I didn't think you'd Hello. Hello."
Tim Minchin sounds so familiar, but I don't know what I've heard him from.
He's like a comedian. Like
Yeah.
he's got like comedic stuff too, but he's got like a fantastic voice, like very good musically. He's got like crazy dreadlocks. I recommend it, look up his performance in Jesus Christ Superstar. He's fantastic. One of the best Judases I've seen. And as I said, like I've been following it for a very long time.
Okie dokie.
All right, we're gonna probably have to cut some of these because how many do we have left? Anything Goes. Did you watch Anything Goes?
Nope.
I've not seen it either. Uh, Not really a want to watch anything doing with the Navy. I don't know.
Nope.
Jersey Boys. I would love to see it.
I like the Four Seasons.
I like the Four Seasons too. I like their songs. Sue Me. I like Frank Valley. So or Frankie Valley.
Big girls, they
Yeah.
don't cry, they
Um,
don't cry.
I would like to go see that.
Yeah.
Company. Have never seen it,
Another
and
Sondheim though.
the the plot there did not talk me into going to see it.
Oh, they bring out his past lovers. That sounds right. Dear Evan Hansen, I've heard of, and I think it's. Oh, this one I've heard of, and it's like on my list of things to see. But like he commits suicide in the beginning of the movie, and like it's going back from there.
No,
No, okay.
or at least I don't think a boy in his school
Okay.
commits suicide, and he's going to therapy, like not related to that, but he's going to therapy, and like part of his therapy is to write letters to himself. So he goes and like lies and says that this kid that committed suicide wrote the letter to him and that they were
No.
really good friends, and he like makes up this whole relationship so that he can get closer to the kid that committed suicide, his sister. So like it I've never seen it. I've never seen it, but I have listened to the whole album several times, and I've done like research on it. They came out with a movie like maybe last year or the year before
Yeah.
that I want to see. I just have not yet again had the chance to sit down and watch it. But like yet again, I think that it has such a powerful like meaning behind it. And there is one song like Words Fail. I cried. Like I literally cried when it got to that, like in the album. Like absolutely beautiful, so sad, and like just a like kind of like really deep subject matter, but like also I think so important, you know.
Mm.
Hades Town. This is probably one of the next musicals I'm going to see. I'm determined to go see it. I listen to this all the time. It's based off of Greek mythology.
Yeah. Orpheus and Eurydice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also like Hades and Persephone, and it's such a like a powerful musical. Like the music's fantastic. It has like kind of like a jazz tone to it. They've got trombones, and they've got like beautiful violin spots. I mean, it's the music's beautiful, and the story.
It won best musical, best original score, and 14 other no eight other Tonys in 2019.
Yeah, it's great. And then this was one that like they came out in uh 2019, and then they were suspended for COVID.
Okay.
When they came back, I don't know if all of the cast came back, but like a good portion of the cast came back. And I don't know. I know that up until recently, the two that were playing Orpheus and Eurydice, they were the original couple. Like, and they're together in real life.
Okay, that's cool.
So I mean, fantastic show. Love it. I want to go see it in the worst way. So then you got Rock of Ages. I was gonna say Rock of Love. That would be a really bad musical. Rock of Ages. I have not seen. I've not seen the movie. I've not seen the musical. I've heard great things, but
That's
I've
just
never seen it.
another one of those ones where it's a jukebox one where apparently it's modern songs.
Yeah, or modern as 1980s. Maybe I'm just not a fan of jukebox.
What I know about this one is when this, I guess it was when the show was out. Um, Constantine, something
Yes.
like one of the guys from American Idol was on it, and there was somebody that I worked with that was like infatuated with him, where she like traveled, like she followed him like people follow the dead. I'm like, okay, and yeah, and she went to go see him doing the play.
Oh, that's weird.
Middle-aged women are weird, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, whatever. I guess whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
The last one on this list is Cats.
Oh,
And what was it? What was really funny was when we were walking through the Broadway museum, we got to the cats section, and my daughter had asked me to take pictures of anything cats because she really wants to see it. She really wants to see the stage
Okay.
production of it because she loves cats. Like, we're a cat family. And as I'm sitting there taking pictures of it, this woman and her daughter come up, and the woman's like, "Oh, there's cats," and the daughter was like, "The movie sucked," and I was like, "Do yourself a favor and go watch the stage recording, because there is a stage recording. I don't know what year it was. It had to have been in the 90s, but they went in and they recorded like the actual stage with the performance, and it's great. Like, it's great. There, you have to go in thinking there's no real plot.
Yeah.
There's no real plot. Like, it's great songs, and it's following a bunch of cats. Like, how much plot can you? I keep on hitting my mic. How much plot can you have when you're following a bunch of cats?
It's also it was based off of a book of poems that weren't related.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
T.S. Eliot's Book of Cats, or all it was called. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if you go into it with those expectations, you're going to. I mean, I won't say that everybody's going to enjoy it, but Cats was the longest running Broadway show for a while until Phantom took over. So there's a reason, the show is a good show.
I
The
remember being a
movie was
kid and
just,
seeing ads for this on TV like all the time. Come see Cats and blah blah blah.
yeah.
I never. I mean, I know the song "Memories" because, of course, but I never saw it or knew any of the other songs until the movie came out, and I went into it knowing it was going to be a good bad movie, and it was a great bad movie. The special effects are horrible. The cats are different sizes throughout different parts of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's scenes where they have human hands or human feet because the special effects weren't finished right.
Yeah. Well,
I
and they
I want to
tried
see
to.
the butthole cut. Apparently, there's a cut where the cats have butthole. I think it's an urban legend, but the music I carried. Like, I left out of it singing the Mr. Mistopheles song. Like, just got stuck in my head for like a month.
Oh yeah, I
That
love
one.
that one and Jenny Any Dots. Like,
Yeah, I like the
between those two.
Rumple Teaser and Mungo Jerry. It was the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I went back and listened to the original soundtrack, and the music's just as good, if not better. It's not Taylor Swift, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the music is so good that it just carries it. And then I read about the original play. Like you said, there's no plot, and they interact. They like walk into the audience as they're doing the thing, and you just have people in tights with their junk like shoved in your face as you're watching this musical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a plot. The plot is to pick one of the cats to go to the Sunnyside layer, but like, that's the plot. Like, that's what I've heard, is that the movie tried to like add to it.
Oh yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like,
Did you not see the movie?
no, I've not seen the movie.
Okay, yeah. Idris Elba plays the evil cat. I forget what the evil cat's name is.
McCavity.
Yeah, yes. He gets she's the Taylor Swift song introducing him. He starts kidnapping the other cat so they can't be picked to be the ones there, and then they wind up going against him at the end. He's got like magic powers where he can like kidnap people magically with smoke or something. It makes no sense at all. But you got Idris Elba, who's just awesome doing his Idris Elba thing.
See, that doesn't even make any sense.
Oh no, it made no sense at all. And like I said, it's the effects are bad. I mean, for a movie where it must have cost a fortune. The effects are horrible.
Yeah.
But the woman that played the main cat is super cute, and she did a fantastic job as the main cat. Whatever the main cat is. I don't even know if she had a name.
They all have names.
Okay.
They all have names. That's one of the songs.
Yeah.
Is it
The naming of the cat. Yeah, they have three names. The names they call themselves, the names the humans call them, and then their secret name. Yes.
Yeah. They have 3 names.
Yeah.
All right, so not on this list. I've got to mention because these are the 2 musicals that I've been like really just obsessed with. Heathers, and it's based off of the movie Heathers.
I've seen the movie.
I have been listening to it. Like there was a good couple of months where I listened to it nonstop.
There was a band in that movie. Teenage was Teenage Suicide the name of the song?
I don't know.
I remember. Yeah. Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. Fantastic movie. Yes.
Yeah. Well, see, and I've never actually seen the movie. Like that's the funny thing is that I've never seen the movie. The whole plot that I've gotten is by just reading like it's really funny because I did not know what actually happened in the musical until after I had already like listened to it several times, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh, that happens. Because I've never seen the movie, but the music's fantastic. And then the other one is 6, and for my birthday, Tom just took me up to go see it on Broadway, and it was fantastic. It was it's based off of King Henry VIII and his 6 wives, and like basically like what happened to them. So they each like have their own song, and I mean it's like one was divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. So that like that they go through and they tell their own story. Yet again, like that whole theme of like taking something that's very well known and then putting like a different spin on it. So it's like the girls telling their own story, but goes back to the Sweeney Todd thing where they took the Diaz whatever, and they put it through the whole musical. In 6, it's Greensleeves.
Okay.
So, and the whole story of that is the rumor was that King Henry VIII actually wrote Greensleeves for Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn. But like apparently that's just like a rumor. They're like they've proved that it wasn't right or anything. But they take Greensleeves and they put it in so many of the songs, and like they change like the key just slightly. So like at the beginning, like it doesn't sound right and it like causes you like unease. And then at the end they fix it so that you feel like, oh, okay, now it's complete. But like yet again, like it's like whoever like sat down and like thought it out, it's like this is absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant. And like I mean it's just great. Like the 6 girls are all based off of like modern day singers. Like there's one that's based off of Beyonce, and there's one that's based off of Britney Spears. It's like Britney Spears / Ariana Grande. There's one that's based off of, I think it was Cardi B. You know, like they all have their own style.
Whatever it is.
Oh my gosh, she is hilarious. That was the one that he imported from Germany.
Okay.
And I can't remember what her name was now, but Anna was Anna Cleves. I think it was Anna of Cleves. I think it was, but like she does a whole rap in like a really thick German accent, and I mean it's hilarious. It's great. I highly recommend it. I love it. I listen to it all the time. I mean, so much that Tom took me to New York
to see it. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a musical called Assassins that I've been wanting to see. That's it's it's another Sondheim, and it's people who attempted to or have assassinated presidents
Hmm.
getting together and talking about it in a bar.
See, I would totally be all for that because, yet
Yeah.
again, I like history related musicals.
Yeah, apparently, it was out in the '90s, and then it just came back last year or 2 years ago now, I guess 2021. Penn Jillette was talking about it from Penn and Teller, and he made
I'll
it
have to
sound
check
really,
that one out.
really interesting. Yeah.
I will definitely have to check that out. Any other ones? Because I think we've been like talking for like 2 hours.
Uh, um, no, not that I can think of.
I mean, I could go on. Like, I could go on. I mean, A Chorus Line, Pippin, Jekyll and Hyde, Sweet Charity, Gypsy, Once on This Island.
Oh,
I mean, like, this
Tommy.
is like,
Tommy's a good one. Yeah.
huh?
Tommy from the Who. Tommy.
Yeah.
Rock opera. Yeah.
Like this is like my jam. I mean, like, I am a Broadway nerd, but I think 2 hours is good.
Yes. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go away and come back with another 2 hours of musical content, and it'll be part 2.
Yeah, I'll have to do more research.
All right. Okay, I'm going to end the recording here. So I guess we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.